Day 2 of the Lindsay Clancy trial began with the Commonwealth continuing their questioning of Patrick Clancy. The jury was walked through a timeline of January 24th, 2023, and I want to give everyone a warning that some of the evidence and the testimony we'll be recapping is very hard to see and listen to. Before Patrick Clancy left that evening to go pick up takeout at 3V, Lindsay asked him to pick up some Pedialyte from CVS. In order to walk you through this timeline as cleanly as possible, I am going to give you the exact locations and times, and this comes from the testimony of Patrick Clancy, as well as the testimony from Andrea Krause, who was the general manager of the CVS that Patrick went to that evening, and the testimony from Saria Shelgren, who was the hostess at 3V. At approximately 4:48 p.m. on January 24th, 2023, a woman called CVS asking where Children's Pedialyte was located in the store. CVS employee Andrea Krause testified that she directed the caller to aisles 13 or 20. At approximately 5:10 p.m., a takeout order was placed with 3V. Patrick entered the CVS at 5:32 p.m., and that was about a 3-minute drive from the Clancy home to this CVS. At around 5:33 p.m., while Patrick was in the CVS, he tried to call Lindsay, but she did not answer. She called him right back at 5:34 p.m. He was calling to let her know that only generics were available, and she said that that would be fine. When he was asked about her demeanor on the phone call, he said that she sounded quiet or preoccupied, but he thought that maybe she was just giving the children a bath. The drive from CVS to 3V was approximately 10 minutes according to Patrick's testimony. He arrived at 3V to pick up the food at approximately 5:54 p.m. He said that the drive home from 3V would have been 10 to 12 minutes. When Patrick returned home, he placed the bags from CVS and 3V on the kitchen island. He immediately noticed, per his testimony, that the house was unusually quiet. He started calling out to everyone. He called down to the basement. No one answered. He went to the children's bedrooms, but no one was in there. He checked the bathroom to see if they were being given a bath, but again, no one was there. At 6:09 p.m., he called Lindsay's phone to see if she was home. He looked outside but could not see her car because it was dark outside and her vehicle was black. She did not answer that phone call. He then tried to enter his and Lindsay's bedroom, but it was locked, and this was the first time he knew that something was wrong. He got a key for the door and opened it up, and that is when he says he saw blood sprayed everywhere. He said it looked like it had been sprayed from a hose, and there was a large puddle of blood in the middle of the floor. He only took 1 or 2 steps in, saw all of that, saw that a window was open, and then he ran outside. This is when Patrick found Lindsay lying face down on the ground with injuries to her wrist and neck. I have the window circled that had been open that she came out of. When he asked Lindsay what happened, she said that she had tried to take her own life. He asked where the children were, and she answered that they were in the basement with no other detail. Patrick then called 911, but it took a few minutes for the call to go through due to connection issues with his phone. He remained on the line until someone responded, and once first responders got there, he ran to the basement. Please be warned, this will be Patrick's recollection of finding his children. If you cannot hear that, please scroll away. I understand completely. When Patrick got down to the basement, he found Cora lying face down near this couch with a resistance band around her neck, which he removed. He then found Callan face down right near Cora, near that couch, again with a resistance band around his neck, which he removed. He then started searching for Dawson, who he found in his home office with a resistance band around his neck, which Patrick removed. He started trying to help the children. He tried to give Cora CPR. First responders then got down to the basement and sent Patrick back upstairs, and the children were taken to the hospital. At this point, the Commonwealth asked Patrick if he had ever been told not to leave Lindsay at home alone with the children, and he said that he had not. He was also asked if Lindsay had told him at any point in January 2023 that she was having thoughts of harming herself or the children, and he said that she had not. He then discussed a later conversation where Lindsay called him from the hospital either a few days or a week after all of this happened. He said that she did not discuss the children She explained in that call that she heard a male voice in her mind on January 24th saying something like, "Do it now or you will lose your chance." He was asked if Lindsay called this a moment of psychosis, but he could not remember if she used that language. He also said that Lindsay had not mentioned psychosis or a voice in her head prior to that phone call, and he had not understood what psychosis was before this case. At this point, Patrick was released from the stand, and the Commonwealth presented some physical evidence that is going to be hard to see, so please again be warned. The Commonwealth showed the pajamas that the children were wearing that night, including this pink robe that Cora had on. They also showed all 3 resistance bands that had been around the children's necks that night. While this physical evidence was being shown, Lindsay Clancy was audibly and visibly sobbing. Her attorney was holding her hand at some points. You could see the attorney's chair shaking from Lindsay's sobs, and a break was taken for a while. After the break, Patrick Clancy was cross-examined by the defense, and they started by just talking about when Patrick and Lindsay met. She was in nursing school, and then she became a nurse. He said that she loved her job, and her anxiety about returning to work in 2022-2023 was not about her not loving her job, but instead it was anxiety about being away from their kids at such a young age. Patrick described her as a dedicated, attentive mother. He said that she read books to the children from the time they were 3 months old. She made up songs for them. She prepared green eggs and ham for Cora. She displayed their artwork and photographs throughout the home, and many pieces of evidence were submitted that showed that. The Clancys did not have a formal dining room. Instead, every room in their home had things to do with children and children's decorations. These photos are from the children's bedrooms, some Paw Patrol characters on Dawson's walls, some of the children's artwork. Lindsay put up collages of the children from birth through 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, etc. There were also multiple screenshots of Lindsay's social media showing her photos that she posted of the children. Patrick testified that the summer of 2022 had been one of their best summers, but beginning in September or October 2022, Lindsay started noticeably deteriorating in her mental health. He described increasing stress, anxiety, severe insomnia, and difficulty functioning because of the lack of sleep. Lindsay sought treatment from multiple providers, including psychiatrist Jennifer Tufts, nurse practitioner Rebecca Gelada, and Julie Paul, who had been recommended by Patrick's mother. The defense reviewed Lindsay's medication history and the numerous prescription changes that had been made before January 24th, 2023. They also showed a handwritten log where Lindsay would document what medications she took each day and what side effects she had. Patrick testified that Lindsay took her medications as directed, although he did acknowledge on redirect that he did not stand over her and watch her take every dose. Patrick testified that Lindsay's insomnia got so severe that she sometimes went 48 hours without sleeping. He recalled her being very anxious, rocking back and forth on the couch and placing her head beneath a pillow, and all of these are symptoms that he said she did report to her medical providers. The defense asked Patrick about Seroquel, benzo, Cymbalta, trazodone, lorazepam, and other medications. Patrick said that Lindsay experienced negative effects from Seroquel, and then the dosage was later increased to help her sleep. The defense asked if she was doctor hunting, and he said no, she was switched providers in the same practice. And they asked if she was seeking out benzos, and he said no, she did not want benzos, she just wanted the right medication. The defense also pointed out that Lindsay had previously been left alone with the children without any bad outcomes. I'm going to leave this recap here. Some of the testimony was repetitive from Monday's testimony. Let me know your thoughts on day 2. Please remember that this is only day 2 out of what is expected to be a 6 to 8 week trial. And most importantly, rest in peace to the 3 children at the center of this case, Cora, Dawson, and Callan.